Nice to see you both. And now I hope the connection will allow us without breaches to start this conversation. To begin with, it's a deep honor to welcome you today. My name is Karina Radchenko. I'm from Ukraine. As the founder of Partnership for Advancing Innovative Sustainability, we are holding these conversations, use-to-use talks, in order to find the solutions to the most pressing global challenges. And today we will speak about the quality education, which is one of the most fundamental sustainable development goals. Today with me are two wonderful trailblazers, Jyoti from Nepal. She is the forestry student. She studies in the Kathmandu Forestry College, being very passionate about wildlife conservation, environment, and combating climate change. We also have Elda Kehinde from Nigeria, who is the founder, president in council and policy research lead in the Nigerian Global Affairs Council, a very powerful organization which is like a kind of think tank promoting good governance and public administration solutions, as well as the head of entrepreneurial organization which promotes learning, entrepreneurship, and other positive effects for youth. Thank you so much once again for joining. To start, Elda, could you please tell us a bit more about your wonderful projects, how young people can get involved, what are your purposes, and probably some current plans as well?
Okay, thank you very much, Karina. Nice to meet you, Jyoti. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Yes, my name is Elda. I live in Lagos, Nigeria. Professionally, I work as a multi-sector public policy practitioner. What we majorly do, of course, at the Nigerian Global Affairs Council is we design policies and advocate for those policies, to be implemented. And of course, most of our policies are designed utilizing behavioral insight, toolkits that ensures that, of course, these policies are citizen-oriented. I'm fortunate to be part of programs, global exchange programs, global professional programs across the world. That, of course, that has given us the level of exposure, the level of experience and expertise that we've grown today. Away from the policy think tank, I also work within the university. We have an enterprise development center where we get to promote, of course, advocate for entrepreneurial education, that is backed by research and innovation at a university called the University of Lagos here in Nigeria. So I'm fortunate to work as the director of that enterprise development center, where we get to teach enterprise education, and of course it's a federal institution. Yes, because of my track record and what I've done, fortunate enough at least to be appointed as a director as a young person. So away from that, today, of course, let's talk about quality education. And I hope that, of course, during the course of our conversation, I will be able to share my perspective on what, quality education should look like. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for introducing your great scope of activities. Good luck with it. It's enormously meaningful to build such kind of networking and cooperation on use-to-use level and academic thinking as well. I'm currently giving the floor to Jyoti. She, as I've mentioned, studies forestry and is very passionate about environment. What has led your decision to take to proceed with your career and to take further studies in environment? And you may probably talk a bit more about why it's important to care after environment and to be so equipped with knowledge and experience in environmental field.
Okay, thank you for the question. I'm always being a nature lover. I always love to travel And I actually from Blaze. That's why I'm more interested in nature and wildlife. And I can feel the fresh air. And I love all these things because of this factor. I was driven to study forestry. I am pursuing my bachelor degree in forestry. I've been always wondering how beautiful nature can be and why people don't understand the value of that nature and why they don't conserve it. I would like to explore the importance of nature and conservation of wildlife. And I would like to advocate about the environment and the conservation of wildlife and environment. Like wildlife and environment is the main part of our we human lives. Okay, and that's why we need to conserve wildlife and environment. And if they know about and I also want to advocate about the different people who don't know about importance of wildlife and importance of nature. And I also want to advocate, and I also want to teach them uh, how the how your action destruct the wildlife and environment. uh, that's all.
Thank you so much for this beautiful motivation and explaining. Actually, we should care about nature as we are part of it. Something with the sound, do you want to say something?
I can't understand. What do you say?
Something with the sound. Yeah,
Sound.
I mean, caring about nature is so important as we are part of it. So thank you for sharing your inspiration. Something probably
Okay,
happened
thank you.
with the connection that Elda is
He may
with us.
leave. Okay, his
Uh,
connection may leave.
Yeah, I think so. I hope he will be able to rejoin us again. And to proceed with Jyoti, what is your vision of the key components, whether there are some components of quality education, so we can provide some measures of what steps should be taken, of how it should be look like, just in brief, some key factors according to you.
Quality education ensure that every child gets chance to uh, every child gets chance for a bright future. Okay, and there are a lot of components for quality education. The most important factor is the teacher. We need most eligible teacher for teaching a student, and teaching factor is the also main important component. And again, educational content is also important. And again, learning environment. If we have distraction in in educational environment, अथवा and your our schools college, then our education may affect it, right? And we need learning environment peaceful, healthy, secure, and inspiring for both boys and girls. And again, school management is very important component, and also funding is the main important factor. Funding help to set the organization and other educational factors may all right, and its promotional and provisional in nature. See, I think that's all component may important for quality education.
Absolutely, it's very important to support these initiatives, and crowdsourcing is very meaningful because for some startups, environmental startups, for young people, it's quite challenging to find some resources in how to scale. We can start with small actions, but in order to scale, we need some more resources and people, professionals involved as well. So it's really great that you've mentioned these factors. Speaking about the
And also teachers may be friendly with students, right? And environment may also friendly with students. That's
absolutely. So building these connections on teachers, students
Yeah.
level, and then understanding that we are part of something big as nature, preserving wildlife. And when I saw your wonderful pictures from Nepal, I was so impressed how even buildings from other pictures, from other movies, it's very part of nature, not like in some megapolises where buildings do not comply with this wonderful nature, but rather the part of this landscape. It is very important not to be divided, not to come far from nature. Speaking about the informal education and its role, what do you feel, why it is important to add this informal after curricular component for students to attend natural heritage, to see the planet, to travel as well, probably? Why it's important?
Okay, first of all, informal education is natural and incidental, right? And informal education refers to learning that occurs away from a structured, formal, and classroom environment. Okay, it comes in many forms and many ways, including viewing videos and hearing others' voice like radios, self-history, reading articles, participating different games, and so on. And there are no predetermined aims, curricula, methods, teachers, and places where children uh, receive informal education. For example, we can get our informal education from our mothers, our family, and so and community. And it's important to workers. Performance then formal training. It helps to cultivate community. It helps to understands human, and it helps individuals to learning to react to and control different situations and settings. It combines social entities that are important for learning. It also helps us to know about what's going on, right? And for example, if I was walking, I'm walking and I don't know the way, and I ask someone, right? Okay, and they show me the direction, and that's the informal learning in my point of view. Uh, that's informal education, and it's very important for each and everyone.
Absolutely. So these multidimensional aspects should be preserved. And I'm happy to see that Elda is back despite the weather conditions and the internet. We were just discussing with Jyoti when you were reconnecting about the aspects, key components of quality education. Whether, Elda, you can distinguish some key priorities so we can judge that this education system is of enough quality and of enough efficiency.
Okay. So yes, thank you very much. My apologies, my network is quite messy, so I might still be pulled out. Yes, when it comes to quality education, I think I would speak from an African perspective, and I also speak from a Nigerian perspective. Here in Africa, here in Nigeria, young people that are not financially buoyant are not fortunate enough to get access to quality education. And we know for a fact that, the bedrock of people pulling out themselves of poverty, people being able to, forge a career for themselves in lives, we having, young girls, young women that are able to stand their own, is anchored on good education. And within our educational setting, as far as, the educational place and space is concerned, if you are financially okay, if you are financially buoyant, you're able to, send your kids to a private school. And of course, even private schools, they come in different categories. You have private schools that are connected to, the British curriculum, the American curriculum, that are probably tied to some Western countries. So it means the quality of education in these schools are quite high. But the thing is, the school fees or the fees, the tuition fee they pay is, quite expensive. So when you, look at the backdrop of all of this, ordinarily, government should be the one that, provides for quality education at all levels of education, be it at the foundational level or the primary level or the high school level or the college level. Government should be the one that does that. And I think it's one of the major things that, personally, I tend to promote. That's even, one of the major things we do within the university. We believe in the fact that undergraduates shouldn't come to school just to learn. Whatever knowledge you get, somehow should be applied out there in the real world. So one of the major things we do at our entrepreneurship center is, beyond the fact that students come to learn about entrepreneurship, we try to connect it to the real economy itself. So how do we innovate? How do we research back directly on the citizens? Or you come up with a commercial innovation that, of course, create to us not just for yourself, but also create to us for the company or the investors that will put money into your funding. So I think one of the major things that, for me, I would want to see universities adopt globally, particularly developing economies, because I think developed economies already get it right, but developing economies need to get this right, is intentionally investing, in entrepreneurial education that is vested on research, and of course that comes out with outcomes that leads to innovations. So we shouldn't go to school, we shouldn't learn, we shouldn't just be educated for the sake of education. Our education somehow should make a difference out there in the real world. Thank you.
There is a very strong linkage between what Jyoti has said and you, Elda, in terms of how funding, investing, prioritizing equality can help here to build this very important and efficient system. And if you look at the experience of the countries with a great economic and social wonder, we can probably see how much of money they invest into education in terms of proportion to other expenditures aspects of its budget. Elda, another question which we already discussed with Jyoti is the role of informal education. You have already touched a part of this topic, and what is the role of these extracurricular activities and how to apply knowledge not only in school but also after school in a non-formal environment?
Yes, and I think that's an excellent question. I love the question. So I would still use, of course, my local perspective, because I believe that whenever you build solutions, particularly when you use behavioral insights, you don't use a one-fit-size approach to say, okay, because this works in the US, let's adopt and replicate in Africa or in Europe or in Asia. So you obviously, need to recount your solution to suit, the local environment, looking at the traditional values, the culture, the way people think, and of course, what are their views when it comes to education. So when it comes to informal education, I think these are like one of the biggest things that currently the policy think tank I lead, we're currently working on. So we're designing this human capital development framework. They call it HCD. So there's this HCD framework we developed. And of course, the way we've developed the HCD, we've developed it in a way that even if you're not interested in going to an high school, probably senior high, or you're not interested in going to college, that's the university itself, we developed this national apprenticeship program. So it means when you are done with junior high or you are done with basic education and you don't want to further anymore, because there are some folks that decide they no longer want to go to school. So what we've designed is we're coming up with a framework where people can go learn a skill. It could be in tech, it could be in fashion, it could be in something informal, it could be in sales and marketing, because of course some persons are business and or entrepreneurial inclined. They don't need much of education to make money and of course to sell and buy stuff. So whatever it is you're interested in, we get to pair you as a young person, as a middle-aged person, even as an older generation person, if you're interested, to those that are already established. So it's more like what you call a master learner kind of model. So the apprentice, is paired to this master that already has an expertise doing this for so many years. So you go through a basic entrepreneurial education program first. Now, once you are done with that, that's the theoretical part. We then push you out to the field. So on the field there, you learn on the job. So as you see these guys do their business, you learn from them. Now, I haven't done that for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on, of course, the number of years it takes for you to learn. The idea now is this person you worked with now replicates the same business they do for you, but they get to open up like an extension of that business in an entirely different location. So that we are not really competing. What they've simply done is they've simply extended the wealth that already they have. But rather than they trying to ensure that you stay with them forever, they simply open a branch or a network for you. So it means that you sell the same thing they do, but you are doing that in a different location or a different state or a different region within the same country itself. Now, the idea is if this person is set up 2 years, 3, 4 years, 5 years down the line, he should also replicate the same model, empowering young people, training them, teaching them, then setting them up. Now, for we, it's a culture that is popular in Nigeria amongst a certain tribe. But what we're trying to do is we're not trying to institutionalize this into a framework that, of course, for even people that go to school but yet are unemployed, how can you learn skills outside formal education that would ensure you are able at least to compete and live a fairly comfortable life? So that's something that we currently, of course, we're looking at piloting it in the university, because when we did our research, when we designed the framework, like I said, you need to pilot the solution. So utilizing, of course, the university itself, we're piloting a particular solution. We've done our initial research, we've done our initial survey, we've gotten our data, so we know where and, of course, how to apply this. And I believe that the same framework I've explained can be designed and implemented in any developing economy that has issues, of course, with high unemployment for young people.
It's very comprehensive model, and I think it's very efficient in terms of these partnerships, as you've mentioned, academic institutions, businesses, employees, future employees, and current students. So here we can tackle not only the problem of quality education, but also we can tackle the problem of unemployment, which is very often when young people get some knowledge and they graduate, and then how to apply this knowledge, whether there is specific programs, partnerships, agreement with the employers, so it can be somehow proceeded without even previous experience and also getting experience during studies. Thank you so much for touching these topics. Jyoti, Elda, it was a great conversation. Despite all the odds, we managed to conduct it, and I hope these ideas will be heard in such a brief exchange, but I think very meaningful in terms of the scope of the questions which we raised today and the kind of thinking ground. And so the last but not the least, I'm inviting Jyoti and Elda you to send your message, to reveal your inspiration, because the purpose of our project is not only to share best practices, but also to reveal this and to share this motivation, so other people will also be so passionate about environment, education, and youth participation. Jyoti, please, your message.
Okay, thank you. I would like to told us that don't destroy environment, don't deforest forest. Wildlife and we human are just like family and friends, right? That's why they are like our brothers, sisters, our family. So we need to protect them. Nature is the main part of human, and human is the part of nature. That's why we can get fresh air from environment, and we release CO2 and we give to them, right? That's why environment and nature, environment and human are just like a coin and two part of a coin. That's why I would like to say all people who are watching us right now that please conserve wildlife and nature. That's it. Okay, thank you.
Wonderful message, so empowering and beautiful. I hope it will be heard. We are all brothers and sisters, a part of this one planet, Earth livers, first of all, Earth livers. Elda, please, your message.
Okay, so I think my message will likely be focused on, young people, calling on our, global leaders, calling on young people, and of course, calling on our political leaders, both in the United Nations and of course in all countries of the world, to create an enabling environment for young people, to play an active role in, the decisions that, impact on young people. We shouldn't just be giving a portfolio because it looks nice. No, young people should be part of the conversation, actively part of the conversation. And I think, our political leaders, leaders in the development world, in our multilateral institutions, they need to clearly understand this. We don't want to be giving what we call like a token, to make them look good, that okay, they're involving youths. Youths or young people should be actively involved, in policy making, in policy designs, and of course, in generally taking decisions that impact on young people. So we cannot be talking about youth agenda. We cannot be talking about youth plans. We cannot be talking about reducing unemployment. We cannot be talking about increasing access to education without involving young people, that are policy experts, young people that are policy advocates are at the table. So the point of the summary is young people should be given an active strategic role at the table, so that whenever we think of policies, whenever we think of any programs, we're doing so based on with the mindset that okay, that there are young persons here that are contributing, of course, to this discussion and contributing to this design of framework or initiatives that are being rolled out across the world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for this wonderful message. Young people are indispensable part of the solutions with our bright thinking and also the ideas which we are already trailblazing. And thanks to you, Jyoti and Elda, and millions of young people worldwide, it's a true proof that young people are promising force to tackle the climate change. So these biases, negative climate biases as well, and education stereotypes negatively distracting the process of getting really accessible and quality education. They should be combated thanks to youth, who are already in win-win strategies. I hope that it's not our last meeting, and we will have the chance to discuss more aspects through our next conversations. Thank you so much for joining, and everyone who has joined us also currently, and who will watch us after we post this on YouTube, as well as Partnership for Advancing Innovative Sustainability Facebook page.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Karina.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jyoti. Yes, have a wonderful one.